Hey guys, welcome to another episode of LFA's Shop. This week, we're back on the Mini Mog. It's been over a year since I worked on this thing, but we're back on it. Let's get into it. So if you haven't seen this Mini Mog before, it is a Toyo Ace. So a Toyota 25 Toyo Ace. So this thing had an LS2 in it and a Turbo 400. That's what we were working on last time I was working with it. So I've since sold the LS2, I've kept the Turbo 400. I bought an LS1, just a 5.7, just a VX or VT one. That was because the motor I had was going to be for the Model A. Now selling the Model A, so sell the good engine, get some money back, buy the 5.7. and chuck it in this thing. So the plan is to basically re-go through everything and just make sure I'm happy with where I was at. I'm just started cleaning up the inside already. Still need to mount the tray, still need to do fuel tanks, still need to do pretty much everything. And then also maybe remount the engine. So basically start from scratch, but we'll see how we go. So let's get into it. I'm jumping straight in the interior and making a nice new floor. I've got about half an hour or so before I need to go out. So just looking at the inside, I think I'm going to start here. So I remember that the engine was actually quite close to this, what was a lid, but this is also all really mangled. So I'd like to maybe lift the floor up a little bit and also make this nice and neat. So I think I'm going to start there and just get the cab all sort of laid out, get some fuses happening, get a seat happening that's a bit better than what we had. I've learnt a few things since we did this. So what I'm going to try and do is lift up the back here 50 mil. That makes it the same height as this front section. So this is high enough. This was kind of borderline. I'm pretty sure it was actually hitting the like the bent metal. I can't really remember. I'll have to go back and watch the videos. But what I'm going to do is cut this section out, all of this, make a nice square, like flat panel, and then weld that in. Do the same on the other side, and then if I need to make a raised lid as well, I'll do that, and then eventually make a lid. So what I'm going to do is just cut that and do the other side, lose all of the structural integrity, and then try and remake it. Alright, so I've spent a bit of time familiarizing myself with this thing again. I cleaned all the tray off, cleaned all the interior out, gave it a bit of a vacuum as well. So I've got those two structures cut off, like I said. So this one I managed to knock the dent out. I haven't tried on the other side, but it's not as dented, so that's pretty good. The back little corners here, so this is this bit on either side. I thought I might try and keep that because then it makes my life a lot easier when I try and reinforce it all. And I also thought I might try and get like an RHS square going, or even just three sides of it, and then join the rest later when I know where the engine sits. That'll make it a whole lot stronger. The only problem with that is this needs to be higher, so it needs to be about 50 mil up from that. So I'll have to do some kind of like dog leg or something. So I might try and do that first and then close it in, try and make my life a little bit easier. As for closing it in, I have made a template. Something like this, needs to be added to in a few spots. But the idea is going to be something like that. Just to square it all off, make it nice and neat, and then I'll just weld up what I can and paint it black, hit the track. So I'm going to try and do that when I work on this thing next, try and get both sides all sort of mocked up, maybe try and get that RHS square guy going, and then I'll have some stuff to mount to and I'll have a bit more strength. So when I get to that, I will show you. Alright, so Tim came over for a bit, we had a chat, so I didn't film anything, but got a bit of a subfloor going in, so that's cut and welded in. It's just tacked at the front. I'm going to probably cut this return off. I was originally going to put another return back up on the new piece, but what I'm going to try and do is leave the opening as big as possible, and then just put like a floor in. So cut that off, make it nice and flat, and then put some tacks along the front, and then put some nutserts in all the way around, and then I can bolt the floor to it. So now the sides have slightly changed, so this is what I've got now. So the idea of this is going to go in like this, something like that, and then weld that in, and the same on the other side, and then I'll have the two sides and the front done, And then the back, I'm probably going to wait until the engine's in to put another bar in, because I don't want to have a bar in and then put the engine in and it all hits everything. So the plan is to just get the front side, the two sides and the front all done, and get a bit of a lid going. The other problem is I don't know if the lid needs to have a bulge in it or not. So I think it's okay being flat, but I'm going to get the engine in before I worry about that. So I'll get this all welded in, and then I can put a piece of timber on top, and then I can actually sit in it and work on the rest of the car. And then when I get the engine back in, then I can check and make sure that everything fits before I weld in that back brace and the lid. So I've got the templates all made up and just calicoed in. So I need to do a bit more welding and stuff before I can attach those, and I also need to clean them up and get the rust off them, obviously. But I just wanted to get something done today, so I got those both in there, and they fit pretty good. So I think with the back, I'm definitely going to wait till the engine's in, but I think I could probably run a bar up the top here, worst case, all the way across, and then it'll probably be clear. And then the front, I'm definitely going to cut this return off and tack weld along there. So it's coming up pretty good. Alright, so I've got the templates all done up, taking the clecos out. So now I want to weld these bars permanently in, grind back all the nice areas, put some weld through primer on it, and get it ready to weld it all together. Try and get this floor all done, the sides and the front and the back, all ready for the new lid. Then I'll get a piece of timber, put it on top, and work on the next thing. So I'm going to jump in, weld this up, grind it all back, make it nice. Alright, I've done exactly what I said I was going to do. So tacked all these in, they're tacked every sort of ½ inch-ish. So all the way across the top, down the side, around the bottom, on the inside. And then all the way across the front, cut that lip off. Everything's all nice and solid. So now the next step on this would be to drill the holes, put some nutserts in, and then make a floor for it. But what I'm going to do for now, because I still want to make sure I can get the that back bar in with the engine and everything, I'll leave that. So I'm going to move on to the seat. So I'm probably going to cut these off and try and do some seat mounting. We're going to have to watch the old videos and see how high the actual engine sits. So let's do that, and then I'll get the seat in the right spot. And then if the seat's in the right spot and the engine will sit, I can probably make a lid, really, because it's not going to go any higher than the seat, is it? So let's do that. Alright, I watched a bunch of videos. Looks like the previous seat mount, which was flat on here across, that actually cleared the engine. Surprise, surprise. So that means the engine is this height, which means I probably have like 50mm above it now. I'll measure from here and get some lines going. But I actually wouldn't mind lifting the engine up some more, so if I can do that, I will. So what I'm going to do is lift the seat up, that 50mm or whatever, and just sit on top of here and go from there. The engine does hang pretty low, which seems really silly, but when you've got not much chassis, like chassis to floor distance, the motor does hang kind of low. So if I can get it higher, I will, and I'll just build a flat top on here and call it a day. So I'm going to go get the seat and get it in here and see where we're at. Alright, I got the seat in with the original mount. You can see it's now sitting 50 or so mil higher. I do have an issue just here, which I'd forgotten about. The front mounts don't really line up, but I think if I flatten those, now that I've made that box section, flatten those a bit, put a plate on top, I'll actually have somewhere really solid to mount to. As for the back mount, it's got to be 50mm up from here, and it also needs to be this kind of thick, because the back mounts are actually quite tall. So what am I going to do with those? I'm not heap sure. I think I could probably do something off of here maybe. This is the original seat mount, I believe. Or I can do something off the floor down the bottom, or I can go off the tunnel. So kind of just going to play that one by ear and see how we go. But I don't really want to do this anymore. So I'll get rid of this guy, put something a bit more sturdy in, make a better mount. And then I need to make some kind of clip up the top to keep the chair up, or just remove that clip, one of the two. So see how we go. I'm just going to keep sort of fiddling with it and see what I come up with. Alright, after many measuring and things, I've come up with an idea. So I've got a plate that I'm going to weld on just down to here. It's drying, so just got some weld through primer on that. Then I want to weld this on as an upright, so I'll weld it to the original seat mount and to that sort of load plate guy at the bottom, and then this will mount onto that upright on a 90-degree angle, and then I'll drill the hole in over here for the actual bolt. Probably makes no sense. I'll tack it in and I'll show you. And I need to do the other side, and then I need to get the heights right and everything, so it's going to be pretty fiddly. but it should be pretty good, and it should be pretty sleek, I think, because what my problem was is I was coming off from here, which is not really super structural, and then I had to go over this, but then if I went on that, I couldn't get a plate on there. So I thought if I space it up a bit, then I can slip the plate underneath, but then you got like a big long stretch and you might end up with a bow. So I think if I do this, you've only got sort of a little bit of flex on it. And if I put the load plate down the bottom, it should be more than strong enough, being that it's off the original seat mount and off the floor with a load plate right where the cab mount is. I think it should be pretty good. So I think that'll be a lot stronger than what I had before, especially, but also all the other options I thought of. So I'm going to try and tack that together, and then we'll see what it looks like. Alright, so this is a quick layout of what I'm going to do. So I've got the load plate down here, which I'll weld on, and then we've got the upright, and then a little crossbar which the bolt will go through. This angle line is just for mock-up. So I got both sides tacked, that side's tacked in, this side is not yet. I'll tack both sides in, get the crossbars on and everything, pull this alley out, and then get the seat sitting in there, make sure it's in the right spot, make sure it's centered, mark some holes, pull it out, weld everything, drill the holes. Then for the front, I'm going to weld a plate in here, so it'll be welded along this side and along this side, and the bolt holes are actually really far out wide, so that should be pretty good as well. So tack this together, do all those things that I said, and I'll catch you up when the seat is in. Alright, there we have it, the seat bolted in. So what I've done in the back, I keep forgetting I can lean this forwards, is exactly what I said. Nut and a bolt through there. A little bit awkward to do it up, but you don't really have to pull the seat in and out all the time. And then same on the other side. And then on the front, made a little plate, which is quite thick. Just need to drill some holes and put a nut and bolt through there. Same on the front two corners. And I think what I'm going to do is have a removable panel here, just this front section. The radiator cap's going to be right there. So I reckon if I put the radiator cap underneath that panel, put a nice panel over the top, then at least you can get to it without having to take the seat out and all that sort of stuff. As for fuses and relays and stuff, I'm not heap sure where to put all that sort of stuff. There's a fair bit of room behind the seat, so maybe I can make it tilt forwards and have all the wiring back here, which would be nice, out the way. As for seating, my head's right up here. I'm quite short. I'm only 5'9", 5'10", and then it's like knees and all. It's very tight. It's just a tiny little truck, so pretty cool. I'm going to rip that out, drill those holes, and then paint everything. Okay, so here's what we got for the seat mount. So we've got this nice upright, then a little crossbar, all welded up, painted. Got a nice new engine bay. Front seat mount, nice frame all the way around. Try and keep it a bit stiffer. Then the same on the other side. And then I need to put the seat in now. And then I think I'll work on pedals and steering, because that's going to be really annoying. So I'm going to try that next, but I want to get the seat in and make sure the steering wheel's in the right spot and all that sort of stuff. So that'll probably all be on next week's episode. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoy the mini-mog, and I hope you come back to watch some more. See you next week.